Hello Explorer, thanks for joining us again and welcome back to another informative video on our YouTube channel. On today's episode, we are looking at the sudden death of the Tanzanian President John Magufuli. In this episode, we shall look at his career and also the progressive things and the positive aspect and impact which he did during his presidency that had moved Tanzania to a hopeful different level. Without any more delay, we should just go straight into it. But the question is, who is John Magufuli? He was born in Chato in northwest Tanzania in 1959. He studied chemistry and math at the University of Salaam in Tanzania. He worked as a chemistry and math teacher, first elected as a member of parliament in 1995. He went ahead to become a cabinet minister in 2000. Also, a few years later, in 2015, he was elected the president of the country. He won re-election in 2020 and thereafter moving ahead. Also, he's been known to be a non-nonsense leader based on his policies and different characteristics of his rule. John Magufuli, called Pombe Magufuli, was the son of a peasant farmer also who became Tanzania's president at the time. He died at the age of 61. Looking at his presidency, he's done a whole lot of things. As a result, based on his strong stand and positive aspect in doing current activities within the country, he was nicknamed the bulldozer, and as he gets to work, his result-oriented actions were also framed as applicable to African leaders, thinking that other African leaders could copy on his approach, and different continental leaders could also look at his different aspect. On very first day of his presidency, he sent a strong message that would kind of not tolerate looking at the chronic absenteeism which was in the civil service in Tanzania. He went ahead at the time to the finance ministry to check on how things are going. When he got there, looking at different staffs that were not in the office, he was very strong in terms of his language that were being used at the time. He also purged out thousands or sacked thousands of ghost workers, which were essentially have been existing within the Tanzanian's payroll system, and bringing public spending to a high level. He then fired officials considered corrupt under the performance of the public sector, and also that actually sent the signals in different ranks within the government. As a president, he clamped down on what was known as extraordinary spending and cancelling the Independence Day celebration for the first time in 54 years. He actually ordered public cleaning, and many times was seen that he himself was picking up rubbish and also cleaning the streets in his country. In understanding this former president, so they point out, at his first year as president, he approached and him a great deal of praise, kind of inspiring in different ways. He was known across the continent. While some posts actually looked at his reign as in a different way, based on the position recognition that it was hard-handed or high-handed in different areas, but many would say that his leadership was that of an exemplary move that many African leaders should be able to copy. As of 2017, he was recognized by different African professionals as a leader that could move the continent in a different level. In 2016, barely 2 months after his first term in administration, he announced that the state television would no longer broadcast live commentary proceedings, and also in that way to reduce the cost of money that the government was spending in that particular area. Under his reign, the Tanzanian government actually engaged in lots of ambitious developmental projects, and that focused on creating a better business environment through improved infrastructure, access to financing, and also education progress. But implementing those budgets remains challenges at the time, but he actually moved the country in a different direction. Based on the international or the World Bank's view on the Uganda of Tanzania's economy at the time of his reign, it was wonderful in terms of the things that the country achieved in terms of its economic overview. If you reflect on the strong aspect of the growth in the past couple of years, moving forward to around July of 2020, Based on data, you see that Tanzania's gross national income per capita increased from just over $1,020, that was in 2018, up to 1,080 US dollars, that was in 2019. In this regard, under Magufuli, Tanzania exceeded the threshold for lower middle income countries. It brought them to a hopeful different level and status. The country's broad vision of its developmental goals as a middle income country in 2025 that was set and out there in Tanzania's development goals were met in different areas. There were characteristics of different areas. Most Tanzanians would say that based on those policies and livelihood, some people were removed from poverty in different ways. However, the level of the number of people that come out of poverty could not be compared to the general public. Also, the country has a population of just over 58 million. That would have been heavy for just a two-term president to transform things. The focus on education, also learning society, competitiveness in the economy, and sustainability. He was also challenged that based on those different policies, Magufuli aimed at protecting the domestic industries in his country. In that rate, it caused a lot of concern among foreign investors that came into Tanzania for business based on his protectionism in different ways. Some will praise him for that, but foreign investors found that to be more challenging. In the Human Development Index, investing in both human development and also physical capital was a key achievement during those particular years that he ran the country. There were different development, the new bus system, different public transport, and also he actually stopped government ministers from traveling to unnecessary visits abroad for different areas. He's improved the country in different areas also. He is a leader. During his reign, you could see that Tanzania took a different turn. There were economic development, there were transformation in the country. Of course, it's not going to be free without some controversies. Based on the coming of the COVID-19 during his reign, he actually saw the coronavirus, where it was named as the devil. When that arrived, the president did not believe, Magufuli we are talking about, the late president, did not believe that people staying at home would be a solution. He wanted them to get out and actually go to churches and also to mosque to actually pray. But again, looking at that particular aspect, it drew some controversy both internally and internationally. He's actually been criticized in that particular area. And some will say that his approach also had some high-handedness to the Tanzanian people in different areas. But others will point out that he was actually a leader that the continent of Africa needed. He was an exemplary leader based on his transformative approach. All of the efforts that he's put in had paid off, moving Tanzania from a total per capita expectation at the time, that's the GNI per capita increased from $1,020 to about just in 2018 and up to 1,080 US dollars, which was a huge achievement if you compare that to a country like Tanzania. It should also be noted that apart from such censorships that were being propagated, that the country was being censored based on its different television stations and also the communication aspect of the country, he's had some different challenge in the country. The huge tax bill, Magufuli's administration continued at the time to curtail bold and unusual directives also to actually have issues with different mining companies in the country. For example, the Canadian parent company of Acadia Mining and also the Barrick's Gold was slapped with increased taxes, which was tens of royalties, and also government said that they were owing lots of money that were not paid in the country at the time. However, apart from those settlements that were being looked into at the time, it gave him a stand in the country based on his actual stand for looking at on the behalf of the Tanzanian people. He focused on those different areas, but never mind. His reign will be remembered by the Tanzanian people, and his effort in different areas in transforming the Tanzanian economy and the infrastructure will be remembered by the Tanzanian people. He's been a great African example of a leader that thought about his people in moving the country forward. We all will be looking at the new leader, who is another woman who's going to be leading the country. It's wonderful to see that there's a smooth transition. That means there was a smooth transition process in place. So we are looking out to see how Tanzania will cope with the loss of their amazing and charismatic president. So we are also going to be looking at how the economy will pick up based on the COVID challenges and how the country will manage the COVID situation. For now, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you can watch our other videos on our YouTube channel. That was it with regards to John Magufuli. We wish him all the best with his family and the Tanzanian people, and hopefully we will be able to visit Tanzania again to look at its development and different characteristics. Thank you for watching. We're looking forward to meeting you again in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.